What you are looking at is the latest test to get humans back to the moon in the next 5 years. NASA testing their Orion capsule yesterday out in New Mexico.
Yeah, there is no doubt this new moonshot will be a whole lot different than the one 50 years ago, with tens of billions of dollars on the line and a stepping stone for the mission to Mars.
Sherman Chow reports from Johnson Space Center.
This is Orion, the first space capsule since Apollo to take humans back to the moon. It sits atop the SLS rocket and can seat 4 people. The goal, to build a space port called Gateway in the moon's orbit.
Orion will be the spacecraft that brings people and supplies and perhaps even elements of the Gateway from Earth to the Gateway, to the orbit, and then back again to the Earth.
Orion attaches to Gateway, and astronauts can live up there for 2 months on the docking station.
A key part of the new architecture is to reuse key elements of the lunar lander. So in the Apollo program, every time we flew to the moon, we had to bring a lunar lander with us.
That and reusing Orion could ultimately be big cost savers. In addition, the lander could access the moon from Gateway's orbit versus a fixed point.
Apollo was limited in the areas on the surface of the moon where we can land. The Gateway allows us to give us a wider range of landing opportunities.
But the project is years behind schedule and billions of dollars over budget. In March, the Trump administration, fed up, ordered NASA to put Americans back on the moon by 2024.
If NASA's not currently capable of landing American astronauts on the moon in 5 years, we need to change the organization, not the mission.
There has been a big shakeup at Project Artemis, while private companies are proposing Gateway designs. But to meet the 5-year deadline, NASA may need another $20 billion. If Congress says yes, the even bigger goal, to use this as a stepping stone to Mars.
And the Gateway is really about proving technology, proving skills, and proving that we can do things in deep space away from the Earth.
At the Johnson Space Center, Sherman Chow, KHOU 11 News.